It's not too difficult these days to find things in our world that are going wrong or are not working or are a mess or are awful or are horrifically bad and so on. I suspect that, when most of us have conversations with friends, it doesn't take long for the discussion to center on what's wrong around us and who to blame for it. This can be somewhat therapeutic, allowing us to blow off steam in a safe place. But it can also devolve into simply griping about what is wrong and criticizing those others who don't agree with us, and sarcastically making fun of those we deem as unenlightened idiots who are responsible for what is wrong in the world. If that kind of conversation happens often enough to become kind of the norm in our conversations and in our thinking, we can easily slip into cynicism, which is usually not helpful and doesn't really feel good. The temptation toward cynicism when we encounter life's messiness is a piece of the human puzzle that we need to deal with. Now, some people believe that sarcasm is an art. It's often a witty, humorous way of pointing out what's wrong. Comedians do this, and political cartoonists do this, and they use sarcasm to highlight what's wrong in our society or government. Sarcasm can be an effective way of leveling constructive criticism, but it's an easy jump from sarcasm to cynicism if we're not careful. Now, a cynic is someone who not only points out the flaws in the world and in people, but is resigned to the belief that that's all there is, are the flaws, and they're unfixable. We've all known people who are, so negative that everything that we don't enjoy, and they're so negative about everything that we don't enjoy being around them. Most everything they say is dripping with sarcasm, and they seem to see nothing good or redeemable about much of anything. They can be highly intelligent and very witty, but not too much fun to be around. That's what a true cynic is. I suspect that most of us have had our moments of cynicism. We might even have had long stretches in which we felt cynical about life or about certain aspects of life. Now, if we're honest, those times were not very enjoyable, and we weren't really at peace inside. Not only is cynicism not very pleasant, but it prevents anything constructive from being done. A cynic sits back and takes pot shots at all that is wrong in the world, believing that no one can change it. Cynicism is a truly hopeless, helpless place to be. Now, as people of faith, we believe that all of creation, including human beings, was created good. It's that faith that calls us to try to avoid cynicism as much as possible. And there are ways to do this. When identifying the flaws in the world or in people, it's important to consciously identify what is good also. That's difficult because we're conditioned to focus only on what is wrong. But it can help us keep us from sliding down into the pit of despair and cynicism if we, focus on what is good also. It's also helpful to identify what specifically one can do to address or correct what we see as wrong, rather than just focus only on what can't be done or what can't be changed. Now, I may not be able to change racism in our society or change hurtful legislation from being passed, but I can be vocal about pointing out the problems and personally treat others without bias or malice. That is possible. Focusing on solutions to societal problems is a good way to avoid cynicism. Using hindsight to remind ourselves of whatever progress that has been made in dealing with flaws in society is also useful to help us continue working towards solving problems instead of giving up. To avoid becoming cynical about people, it's helpful to continually remind ourselves that human beings are more alike than they are different. And even though someone is behaving in a way that is foreign to us or not like us, or they have totally different views than we have, it's a good bet that their motivation is very similar to ours, even though we might not see it or understand it immediately. Holding on to this belief and view of human beings can help us put effort into finding understanding before we go immediately to sarcasm and cynicism. With all the chaos and the problems we see around us these days, the temptation to surrender to cynicism can be pretty strong. But resisting this temptation is crucial for there to be any possibility of navigating the problems and finding solutions, whether it's as individuals or as a society. And it is crucial to our peace and happiness.